There's no one more positive that we can talk to than Dr. Ray. What's going on, Doc?
Well, I appreciate the compliment there, even though we're talking about very disappointing injuries. But I do try to keep it positive. I agree with you, Greg.
Thank you. Maybe
Except every time I ask him about a player, it's always
well, maybe he'll change it up. Maybe he'll give us the positive information. He'll give positive information today. And Doc, let's start with Matt's favorite player then, or one of his favorite players. Let's start with Christian McCaffrey. He suffered a shoulder injury over the weekend. Ron Rivera gave us some negative information yesterday, but maybe you'll give us some positive information today.
Well, if you want to spin this as positive, running back with shoulder injuries is not as severe, obviously, as some other positions. It's a grade 2 shoulder injury, so it's not a grade 3, any type of tear. It looks like our algorithm has said that the optimal recovery time is 2 weeks. And so if he didn't practice Wednesday, there's a good chance that he's probably going to sit out this week and, be back on the following week. And that's what we would really recommend if he does play this weekend. Currently, his injury risk is elevated at 23%. And if he does play this weekend, it'll stay elevated. So if you're going to if he does play, just remember that he will be at an elevated injury risk because the grade 2 shoulder injury for running backs takes 2 weeks to recover from.
That
wasn't what we want to hear, Doc. I'll stay with the running backs here.
Okay.
Devonta Freeman, Doc. How should can we just plug and play him as I'm telling people play him as long as he's out there. You have to play him.
So the big issue with this is not only a medical component, but third concussion in 12 months. This is a big psychological component here. A lot of people don't understand. The first concussion you can come back from, but as the concussions build up, the risk of another concussion increases, especially if there's a chance that he comes back too soon. In my mind, he has come back a little bit too soon, and basically the risk of injury is a lot higher. He was high injury risk before this season started. He was one of these guys that we said that look out, there'll be a significant portion of the season that he misses, unfortunately has played true. But again, you guys have to remember there's a big psychological component to having a third concussion in such a short period of time. So yeah, he's cleared protocol, but he's still at high injury risk like he always was throughout the season.
What's up, Doc? What's going on with you this morning?
I'm good, Corey. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. We seen our guy Amari Cooper take that real nasty hit last week. Looks like he's going to be in the concussion protocol for a little bit.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but he also has a grade 2 ankle injury as well.
Did see that.
So the sort of a double whammy here. You guys all saw the hit, right? I mean, it wasn't a light hit by any means at all. So, he didn't practice Wednesday. This is a 3 weeks for that type of concussion, 3 to 4 weeks for that ankle injury. I don't expect him to see him out on the field in the next couple of weeks. He was elevated injury risk before this injury. Now he's at high injury risk at 27%. Now, he's high injury risk, but he just passed the threshold of high injury risk to 27%. A lot of guys who's high injury risk, they're up at 45, 50%. So he is close to elevated. So if he does rest and he does rehab and he comes back after 3 weeks, he'll be closer to that elevated low injury risk threshold. So, that's this positive spin I'm putting on this. There's no realistic chance that he should be coming back very, sooner than that based upon the 2 injuries now that he has.
The Inside Injuries Report comes from Dr. A, InsideInjuries.com. And Doc, I've been a Greg Olsen owner for a while now. I've waited, and I've waited, and I've waited. I got him back last week, which is supposed to be the exciting moment for us. And then Greg Olsen, problem was he played like 21 plays and then left with his foot was hurting again. But he had an x-ray and it was negative, and he had some other tests and they were fine. He says he's okay. Are we okay to put him back in our lineups?
Yeah, you have a very optimistic view, Greg. I applaud you for that. But you guys remember what I've said all along, before he came back. I said this is 1 week too soon. Foot injury, a foot fracture for tight ends. These guys are big. They run a lot. I block a lot. The foot is a big factor. Yes, the X-rays are negative, and he did get an MRI. We don't know the results of that yet. He didn't practice Wednesday, so is this just precautionary, or is he feeling pain still with this foot? And so that's going to be vetted out. Let's see what his practice status on Thursday is. Again, because he had the injury, he came back too soon, and he sort of came out of the game. We consider that a 1 week setback in our algorithm. So now that pushes him now not to be optimally recovered for this weekend, but then the following weekend. If he had rested that week, as we said, then he would be at optimal recovery for this weekend. So, Greg, I think Greg Olsen is going to be sort of a elevated injury risk. But stay tuned for today's practice status, because that's going to be really telling to see what they decide to do. He should be practicing right now.
Rashad Matthews, Doc, he's a guy missed last week. He hasn't practiced yet this week. And Marcus Mariota seems to really need him. Corey Davis owners want to know if he's going to play. What do you got for us?
Well, he was added to the injury report last Thursday. So, sort of like a late addition to last week's injury report. He didn't play. And we usually, when that happens, the injury is sustained in practice, or it's a minor injury and it's sort of been, exacerbated in practice. And so he didn't play week 12, but it's a grade 2 hamstring injury. And you guys know wide receivers with hamstring injuries, we don't think he should be playing this weekend. I think the backup, Corey Davis, I think that is going to be the way you have to go. If he does play, he's at close to 20% injury risk this weekend. So, right now the optimal recovery for a grade 2 hamstring injury for a wide receiver is 4 to 5 weeks.